Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 2 of May-June 2021. Now, with that being said, let's move on to question number 1. So here what do we have? We have the price of a drill is given by $78. Okay. Now in a sale, the price is reduced by 15%. Now we have to find the sale price. Now there's two ways of doing this question. So let's try the first one. So we can first find what is the reduction. So what is 15% of $78? So 15% times 78, that will give you what? So 15 divided by this times 78, that will give you $11.70, which means the sale price would be 78 minus the discount, and that will give you the sale price. That will be 66.30. Okay, and that will be your answer for part A. Now, other way you can just do this, you know that the initial price is 100%, discount of 15%, that will be 85% of the initial price. So you just do 0.85 times the price, that will give you the new price. So that will be the other way of doing this question. Both will give you the same value. That is part A. Now for part B, the exchange rate between dollars and euros are given to you by this. So we have $1 is equal to 0.85 euros. That's the first thing we're given. Now, Michael changes $100 to euros. So how many euros does he receive? That will be $100 will have to be 0.85 times 100, right? That makes sense, right? So you'll have 85 euros. So let's check, why not? Even though that's obvious, check. That will be how much you receive. Now let's move on to the question. He buys a clock costing this much euros. So he changes the remaining money back to dollars. So how much is remaining money? So let's first find the remaining amount. Remaining will be the amount that he has, which is 85, minus the amount he spent, that was 58.99. So let's see how many euros he has remaining in his balance. That will be 26.01 euros. Okay, now we have to calculate the amount in dollars he has left. So we have to change euros back to dollars. So we have to use the conversion rate here. So we know that 0.85 euros is equal to $1. So how much is 1 euros? That will be 1 divided by 0.85, right? We have to find how much is 26.01. That will be 1, so which is 1 over this times 26.01 to find the amount. So 1 divided by 0.85 times 26.01, that will be 30.60. So the amount in dollars, that will be $30.60 left after buying the clock. Now let's move on to part C of the question. So here we have two kinds of investment. Here we have a simple and cool compound. Now Pietro invests this much, 3,500 in a simple for 4 years. Okay. Now Elana also invests that much in cool compound for 4 years as well. Now the question is, at the end of the 4 years, who has more money in the account and by how much? So one by one. Let's first look at Pietro. So number 1, we have P, which is the investment, as 3,500. We have the years, let's see, years is T, that will be 4 years. And we have the rate, which is 2.1%. And that's all we have. So we have to find the amount at the end of 4 years. So we have to know the formula for simple interest for Pietro. That will be P plus I, which is P RT. Now P is the investment. As you can see, just replace the values back in the equation. So the main part of this question is just to remember the equation and then just replace them in that. So PR is 2.1%, which is divided by 100, and then times T, which is time taken. in years, obviously. So 3500 plus 3500 times 2.1 divided by 100 times 4, that should be 37944, the amount after 4 years for Pietro. Now for part 2, let's move on to the other person, Elena. So here we have P as the value of 3500, same thing. And here we have also time is 4 years, and the rate now is 2% as compared to 2.1. So I guess we have to be careful with that. Now, what is the formula we know for compound interest? So we have to actually know that for this question. That will be P1 plus rate times time. So P is given by the investment, 3500, times 1 plus rate is 2%, and time taken is 4 years. Obviously, we have to begin from the inside out, so 1 plus 2% power 4, and times the value of 3500, that will be 3788.51256. Okay, so now we can compare which one who has more money. So by comparison, you can see the first person, which is Pietro, has more money. By how much? We just have to find the difference. So 3794 minus answer, that will be 5.49, correct to 3SF or to 2 decimal place. That will be your question number 1. So let's move on to question number 2. The table shows the midday temperature and the number of cups of hot chocolate Natcha sells on each of 10 days. Okay. As you can see here, we have a table of values, the temperatures, and the number of cups sold. Now, part 1, complete the scatter diagram. So the first 5 points have been given to you. That's good. So these first 5 have been given to you. We have to plot the rest, I believe, right? So question part 1 is to complete, right? So we have to plot this one. The first point here is what? 21.8. So 21 is the value here. 21 will be. So here we have 5, so that is, which means 2 square is 1. So 2 square, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 square is 1. So 21 will be, 20 is here, 21 will be right here. Now again, my graph is not straight. As you can see, the scan is kind of weird. So I will try my best to get my line of best fit. However, the method here will be correct, and hopefully my answer will not be too far from the right answer as well. 21 will be here, and the value on the y-axis will be 8. So let's count 8. So same thing here. Here we have 5. 5 will be 6, 7, 8 will be right here. That is my first point. And now for the other one we have 6, 17. So 6 will be right here. 17 should be. So here we have 10, 15, and that will be 16, and 17 should be on this one. And then we have 521, so 521 should be right here. Then we have 12, 16. 12 is 11, 12, 16, 15, 16 will be right here. And then we have 23, 6. So 23, so 21, 22, 23, 6 will be right here. Okay, so once you plot the diagram, you can see what's happening here. You can see that as the temperature is increasing, the number of cups sold is decreasing. Now, this is why we have this question right here. So describe the relationship between the temperature and the cups sold. So you can see it will have to be what? So you can write they have a negative correlation. Obviously, I'm writing the shortcut here. You can write this and this they have a negative correlation, or you can say as this one increases, the other one decreases. You will have your points for part B. Now let's move on to part C. By drawing a line of best fit, estimate. So here we have to estimate the number of cups of hot chocolate sold when the midday temperature is 17 degrees. So first we have to draw the line of best fit. So let's try your best to draw your line which passes through most points. So let me see what can I do here. So I can choose these points right here. I'll choose this one. So this will be my line of best fit. So it is in such a way that it passes exactly in between. It is evenly distributed at the top and at the bottom. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So they are equally on both sides. That will be my line of best fit. Now using the line, we have to find the cups, which is on the y-axis, when the temperature is 17 degrees. So let's find out where is 17. Here we have 15, 16, and 17 is right here. So of course you have to show how you find your answer. 17 will be this one. That should be the value right here. So let's try your best. Okay. So according to my graph, the value shows to be about, here we have 10, so I will choose, it shows to be about 11 right here. So I will choose 11 cups. She will sell 11 cups of drinks on that day. Again, as you can see, my graph is kind of stretched out in a weird way. So hopefully you guys have your answer around the same values. However, the exam or Cambridge will provide you with a range of values that will be accepted for your exam. So that will be your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So here we have to simplify this equation. As you can see, we have 4a, hopefully it's 4a actually, because I don't know exactly what this is. 4a minus b plus 6b minus 7a. So I hope that is the right value here, because I'm not too sure if that is correct or not. So let's try to solve this. 4a minus 7a, that should be minus 3a. And then we have minus b plus this, that should be plus 5b. So this will be your answer if that is exactly what you have here. Okay, it will be minus 3a plus 5b. Now for part b, we have to solve this equation, which means we have to find the value of m. So first thing first, we can send this over here. You will have m over 2, that should be 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. Then we have to send this over here. M will be 2 times 9, and that should be 18. Okay. Now for part C, we have to rearrange this to make t become the subject. So step by step, first thing first, we can just cross multiply. You will have 3u, and there will be t plus 4. Now t will be 3u minus 4. Now last one, we have to expand this one. So how can we do this? Pretty easy. So we can take one by one. So 3y times 2y squared plus 3y times 5. That will be 3 times 2 is 6. Y times this will be y cubed plus 15y. And this will be your answer for part D. And that is your question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. So we have 100 adults in a town who were surveyed about the number of emails they each receive in one day. Okay, the table shows the results as you can see here. So let's see what does it mean. For example, if I choose here, as I can see, there's 22 adults who receive 3 emails on that day. So this is what it means in this table, right? Part 1, we have to find the mode. The mode is where the frequency is the maximum. As you can see here, the frequency max is 28. So the corresponding value will be 4. That will be the mode that we have for part A. Now for part B, we have to find the mean. Pretty easy. That will be the total number of emails divided by the total number of adults. So let's find out. So we just have to multiply them by each other. So 1 times 8 plus 2 times 10 plus 3 times 22 plus 4 times 28 plus 5 times 15 plus 6 times 9 plus 7 times 5 plus 8 times 3. That should be 394. And number of adults we have is 100 given by the question. It will be 3.94 as your answer. That is part B of the question. Now for part C, one of the adults is chosen at random. So we choose one of them. Okay. Now find the chance that they both, they receive fewer, so less than 4 emails that day. So now we have to understand less than 4 means it can be 1, 2, or 3. So let's find out how many people are in this group of 1, 2, or 3. So here we have 1, 2, 3. So we have this and this and this. So we have 8 people plus 10 and plus 22. There will be 40 people in that 3 groups. So the chance of choosing one of them will be 40 people over 100, which is the total number of people in the whole survey. So now we have to simplify. So 40 divided by 100, that will be 2 over 5 as a fraction in its simplest form. That will be part C of the question. Now let's move on to part D of the question. The town actually has 18,000 adults. Okay, that is given to you right here. Now, use the survey results to estimate the number of adults in the town who receive exactly 5 emails that day. Now let's check how many adults receive 5 emails that day. So 5 emails, we have 15 adults, which means the chance of receiving 5 emails will be 15 adults over 100, which was over the survey. That will be 0.15. So obviously, if you take this group, the chance of them to find the number of people receiving, so estimate, you will have to multiply by the chance of actually getting 5 emails. So that will be 18,000 times 0.15. That will be 2,700. That will be your answer for part D of the question, using the result from the survey to estimate the value that we need for this question, part D. Now let's move on to question number 5. So here we have to use set notation to describe the subset that is shaded in the Venn diagram. So pretty easy. So we can do A union B, and as you can see, it is outside of that region. So A union B, and outside will be prime. That will be part 1. And in part B, so here we have the universal set, which is the values from 2 to 12. And here we have P, the factors of 36. So let's list the factors that we know of 36. So let me write this down. Here we have 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and then 6 times 6. That should be pretty much the factors that we have for 36. Now we have to choose which one is in this set. So we have 2. We have 3 as well. We have 4. We have 6. Then we have 9. We have 12. And that's it. The rest we don't have, obviously. You will not be in that group. Now for part Q, we have to have multiples of 4, which is 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. And that should be everything for Q. Now the last one is pretty easy. The values of x between 3 and 6, but inclusive of those values, that will be 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so these are the values for P, Q, and R. We have the sets listed out for you. Now the question that follows is, we have to complete the Venn diagram. So one by one, we have always to begin from the inside out. So let's see, do we have something which is common in all the 3 sets? Let's see, what do we have? So by observation, we have 4 here, 4 here, and 4. So everyone has the value 4. That's the first one. And then what else? Nope, that should be everything for the mid value. Now let's compare what is common between PQ. PQ, let's see, they have the value of 12. That is common. And what else? That's it. So 12 will be right here. And what is common between the values of PR? So let's see. R, we have 3, so they have 3 here as well. So 3 and 3, that should be here. And then here we have 6 and 6, that should be right here. And that should be pretty much everything. And then for the value here for RQ, this one. So RQ, so 4 is here already. So the rest, nope, we don't have anything in common. So that should be pretty much for the value here. Now for the outside values, let's see, what do we have remaining? So we have 2 here for Q, sorry, for P, we have 2 remaining. We have the value of 9 remaining, and 12 is taken here. And what else for the set of Q? Q we have 8, and that's it. And then for R we have 5. So now, are we missing anything? Let's count. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be outside. 8, 9, 10 will be outside. And then we have 11 will be outside. And then 12 right here. So as you can see, these are the values will be outside the 3 sets. That will be part 1 of the question. Okay, so that is good to go. Now for part 2, we have to list the elements of this. So let's find them on the set, on the diagram, sorry. So we have Q union R. So Q union R will be these two together. Prime will be outside of these two. Intersecting P will be only this one. So here we have the set of 2 and 9. That is part 1 of the question. Now, what else do we have? We have to find the number of elements of P union Q. Now, P union Q will be this and this. So let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 will be the number of elements in those two sets. Now for part 4, we have use set notation to complete the statement. Which one is an empty set? As you can see, this one will be the empty set. So how would you describe this region? So pretty easy. It will be Q intersecting R, right? Will be this one. And then intersecting P prime. If that makes sense. Because Q intersecting R will be all this, but we don't need only this. It will be outside of P. That's why it is P prime. So it will be this as your answer. So Q intersecting R intersecting P prime will be the empty set according to the Venn diagram. That will be question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. Now PQR is an isosceles triangle with PR and QR are the same, are equal. Now P is a 0.15, Q is a 0.51. Now we know that the angle PRQ is not a right angle, so that's something we have to keep in mind when doing this question. Now we have to find the points of one possible position of R, so which means we have many possible values. We just have to find the right one. Now we can use this one. Obviously I would advise to use this diagram to help you find the values. So first one is P, which is 1, 5. So 1 is here. 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be right here. So 1, 5, this one. This is my point P. The point Q will be 5, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 will be right here. This is my point P. This is my point Q. Right, Q. Now, where can I place my point R so that I can get a isosceles triangle, but which is not a right angle? If you observe, if I put the point R here, right, it will be a right angle triangle, so it would not be good. So I will have to put somewhere over here. So let's try this. So as you can see, the distance here is 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. So this will be a good point for R. As you can see, it could be here. This will be equal, and it will form a isosceles triangle. Now again, there's many values that we can choose. It could be here. It could be here as well as one of the possible points for R. Now you can just push it back as well. Let's see where can it go. So I think those are the two most viable options. I guess at least according to the graph, you can see clearly you can choose that, and then you can choose. You can keep going on here or here for the points as well for the value of R. Now that will be my question, part A. Let me write down this value. I will choose the value of 2, and that is 2. 2, 2 will be my point R according to the graph that I have, as you can see by observation as well. That will give me an isosceles triangle. Now for part B, here are the equations of 5 curves. Okay. Now sketches of 3 of these curves are drawn below. Write the correct equation underneath each sketch. It's pretty easy. So the first one, as you can see, we have seen this many times. This one is a minimum curve. So we know that the coefficient of x squared has to be positive. So it cannot be this. This is not possible. It can be this, or it can be this. Now the passing point here, as you can see, it is passing through 0, 0. Right. So when the value of x is 0, y also have to be 0. Now replace, you can see When the value of x is 0, y will be minus 8, so it will not be this one. It will have to be this one. So y is equal to x squared minus 3x. Now for this one, as you can see, it is a maximum curve, so the coefficient of x squared has to be negative. By observation, it will have to be this one, 2 minus x squared. And the last one, as you can see, we have a cubic curve, so it has to be x power 3. It can be this one, or it can be this one. So now we have to look at a passing point. When the value of x is 0, the value of y is negative. Let's test. When the value of x is 0, the value of y is 0. So it will not be this one, it will have to be that one. So y is equal to x cubed minus 2. That will be part B of the question. Now let's move on to part C of the question. So we have a point A which is minus 1, minus 5, and point B which is 3 and 3. So find the equation of the line perpendicular to AB, which passes through the midpoint of AB. I think we have seen these kind of questions many times in AdMath. You guys should know how to do this by now. So we have a point A here, for example. Let's say we have a point B here, for example, and then we have a midpoint M, for example. So let's first find the point M. M will be the midpoint. We know the formula, which is minus 1 plus 3 over 2 minus 5 plus 3 over 2. That should be what? That should be 1, and that should be minus 1, right? So that will be my point of M, the midpoint of the line AB. Now we're trying to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of this line at 90 degrees. Now to find the equation of a line, we will need to have the gradient, right? So to find the gradient of this line, we must find the gradient of this one first. So what is the gradient of AB? That will be found by using the points and the formula that we know, which is y2 minus y1, so 3 minus minus 5 over x1. That will be 3 minus minus 1. That should be 8 over 4. That should be 2, which means the gradient of the line will be minus half. Now we have the gradient. We also have a passing point, plus 1 minus 1. That will be the x and the y value. So y minus minus 1 over x minus 1. That should give you minus half. So cross multiply, that will give you 2y plus 2 is equal to minus x plus 1. So 2y is equal to minus x plus 1 minus 2. So 2y has to be minus x minus 1. And this will be your equation of the perpendicular bisector of the line AB. That will be question number 6. Now let's move on to question number 7. So here we have a rectangular field measures 30 meters by 45. So part 1, we have to find the perimeter of this shape. So let's observe. What is the shape of a rectangle? As you guys know, it should be something like this, right? So here we have the length and the width. So to find the perimeter, we have to add the distance around. That should be 45 plus 30 plus 45 and plus 30. So 45 times 2 plus 30 times 2. That should be 150 for part A of the question. Now for part 2, we have to find the length of the diagonal. So pretty easy. We have to find the length of this one. So as you can see, this has to be 90 here, one of the properties of a rectangle. So we can use the Pythagoras theorem to find this length, right? Let's call it x. So we have x squared is equal to 30 squared plus 45 squared, which means x have to be what? 30 squared plus 45 squared have to be root of 2925. Let's find the exact value. That should be, this is the exact value, and we can always find the decimal. That should be 54.1 for the value correct to 3SF. You can write this or this as your value. So as you can see, you can draw something to help you understand what you need to find for this question. Now let's move on to part B of the question. The diagram shows a sketch of triangle PQR. It's a triangle, okay? Now all the lengths are given in centimeters. We have to use this information to find the value of A. Okay, so now because we know all the three sides, this, and this, we know the angle in the middle or between, we can use the cosine rule, okay? So the cosine will be what? Cosine of the angle have to give you the sum of the values on both sides minus the value, the square of the value on the opposite side, divided by 2 times this and this. So this is the formula we have to know for the cosine rule. Now we have to solve one by one. What is cos of 60? Cos of 60 will be 0.5, which is half. So half has to be, this is 11 square will be 121. So 121 plus a square minus, that should be a square plus 8a plus 16. Divide by the value of 2 times 11 times a. Now this and this will be cancelled out, and we have to cross multiply. You will have, on one side you will have 11a is equal to 121 plus, that will be a square minus a square minus 8a minus 16. Now we have to simplify. This one obviously will cancel out. We send this over here, so 11a plus 8a, that should be 121 minus 16. So 11 plus 8, that should be 19a. 121 minus 16, that should give you 105. 105. So a have to give you what value? Divide by 19, that should give you the value of 5.53. Correct your 3SF. That is the value of A. Okay, so let's move on to question part C. The diagram shows a sketch of the quad ABCD. Okay. Now all the lengths are given in centimeters. Part 1 question, we have what? We have the area of this shape is given to you by this. We have to find the angle DAB. We have to find this whole thing. Okay, so how can you find this angle? So I would say we can do this step by step, one by one. Let's see how is that possible. We can first find this angle pretty easily. Right, because as if you observe, we take out the triangle ADC as a right angle triangle. We can use SOHCAHTOA to find this value right here. So let's do that. So here we have, so let's write this down if you want to make things easier for you to know which one to use. So here we have the A side, so A and A, and here we have the opposite side, so O and O. We have to use tan. So tan of the angle, let's call this angle theta. So tan of theta has to be, opposite side will be 10 over the value of 8. So theta will be tan inverse of 5 over 4. So 10 divided by 8, tan inverse of the answer should be 51.34 degrees for theta. This is one part of the angle, right? Now, we have to find this one. Let's call this alpha. Now again, there's a reason why you're given the area. You have to use that value. So how would you find the area of this whole shape? So we have to break this down into two parts. That's the main idea behind this. So we have this one part and number 2. So how would you find the area of number 1? Pretty easy, because we have a right angle triangle. You can use half times base times height to find the area of the right angle triangle. That will be 4 here, that will be 40. So this area here is 40, which means this will have to be 70 minus 40, that should be 30. Okay, so now we know the area of this one. Now, how would you find the area of triangle ABC? As you can see, we have the angle in between and we have these two sides. So we have to use the other formula, which is half times sine of the angle in between and times the two sides. That should give you the value of 30 according to the question. So let's solve. So that will cancel out here, that will be 4. So sine of alpha should be 30 divided by 4 times 9 is 36. So we have this right here. So here we have to find the value of sine inverse. So 30 divided by 36, that should be 5 over 6. So let's see what does that give you. Sine inverse of the value should give you 56.4426. Now obviously the whole thing right here, which is DAB is the big angle, will be alpha plus theta. So we have to add these two to find the value. So angle DAB will be 51.34 plus 56.44. So let's add that together. That should be 107.8 degrees, correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, and that will be your question number 7. Let's move on to question number 8. So here we have f of x equal to 3x minus 5, and here we have g of x given to you by this value. So I think this is one of the easier questions. So I hope you guys have done this question pretty well to earn 4 marks for number 8. Now first we have to find the value of f of minus 2, which means we have to plug in the value of x equal to minus 2 in the equation. That will be f of minus 2 should be 3 times minus 2 minus 5. That should be minus 6 minus 5, and that should be minus 11. Of course, you can double check 3 times minus 2 minus 5. Okay, that should be your value. For only 1 mark, pretty easy. Now for part B, we have to find the largest integer, which is whole number value, satisfying this equation. So first thing first, let's write down the equation. F of x is 3x minus 5 is more than 3 times g of x is 4x plus 4 over the value of 3. So that will be cancel out. You will have 3x minus 5 more than 4x plus 4. Right. Now we have to send all the x to one side. So 3x minus 4x, that should be minus x more than 4 here plus this for the values on the right hand side. Now this will give you the value of 9. But obviously we're trying to find the value of x here. So divide by a negative value of 1. X will be, because we are dividing by minus 1, the sign will change. It will become less than the value of 9. Minus 9, sorry. Okay, so we have to find the largest possible value that satisfy this equation. So let's see, what can we do? We can draw a line of to help you with that. So if you observe, let's say here we have minus 9. Here we have minus 10, minus 11, minus 12. Here we have minus 8, obviously. So we are trying to find, so here we have x is the value less than 9. It has to be on this side, obviously. And as you can see, the largest number less than 9 will be, integer will be minus 10. So minus 10 will be your answer for part B of the question. Okay, that will be. It is not tricky, it is just you have to be careful with this question. So that will be minus 10. Now for part C, we have to solve this equation. F of x is equal to 3x minus 5 is equal to g of this, where we have to replace this value back in the equation. You will have 4 times 3x minus 5 plus 4 over the value of 3. Now first thing first, we can obviously cross multiply. You will have 9x minus 15. That will be 12x minus 20 plus 4. 9x minus 15 is equal to 12x minus 16. Now we can definitely send the values of x to one side. What you will have, let's send this over here. So 12x minus 9 will be 3x. Send this over here will become 1. So x will be 1 over 3. Okay, so let's move on to part D of the question. Here we have g of x given by, is equal to this. We have to solve the value for x in this equation. So first thing first, we have to find the value of g inverse of x. So we have to let y equal to g of x, which is 4x plus 4 over the value of 3. Now we'll have to make x become subject to find the function of g inverse. So first thing first, we cross multiply. You will have 3y is equal to 4x plus the value of 4. Now 4x will be 3y minus 4, and x will be 3y minus 4 divided by 4. So we conclude the value of g inverse of x have to be 3x minus 4 over 4. Now replace back in your main equation. So you will have 3x minus 4 over 4 equal to 5. Now we cross multiply, you will have 3x minus 4 equals to 20. Now 3x will be obviously 24, so x will have to be the value of 8. Okay, and that will be your question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. So we're given a few formulas here, the volume of a cone and the curved surface area of a cone. Okay, good to know. Now the cone has radius 6, as you can see right here, and the slant height is L. Okay. Now the total surface area of the cone is 84 pi, so 84 pi centimeters square. So we have to show that the value of L, which is the slant height here, is equal to the value of 8. So we have to use this information. Now, how would you find the total surface area of this shape? As you can see, we have to use two parts. One is the curves, so TSA, total surface area will be the curved surface area plus the base area, which is the area of a circle area. So curved surface area is given to you by pi or L, so pi R is equal to 6, L we don't know, and the circle here will be pi R square, that should be 6 square. So that will give you, TSA is given to you by 84 pi, that will be 6 pi L, and that will be 36 pi. Now we have pi everywhere in common, we can cancel them out, and then we can send this over here, so 6L have to be 84 minus 36. That should be 48. So L has to be 48 divided by 6, and that should be 8. So let's check. Yep, that should be shown as required for part 1 of the question. Now for part B, we have to find the volume of the cone, so pretty easy. We have to use this formula right here. That will be 1/3 pi R square is, the radius is 6 square and h. So we have to find the value of h. H is the height that we need to find for right here. Pretty easy. As you can see here, we have a right angle triangle, so we can use SOHCAHTOA to find the value of the height. So let's call this h. So how would you find this? So we can form an equation which is h square plus 6 square has to be 8 square. So h square has to be 8 square minus 6 square, that will have to be 28. So h have to be root of 28. So replace, you have 1/3 pi times 36 times the value of root 28. Now we have just to solve, that should be 12 here, so 12 root of 28 pi for the volume. Obviously you have to expand the values here, times pi, that should give you 1994849. Now obviously you can provide the value correct to 3SF. That will be what? 199.0 for the volume, or you can write 199.5 as well. They will also accept the value for the volume. Should not be a problem. So that will be part B of the question. Now let's move on to part C of the question. So here we have to use similarity. A similar cone has a total surface area of this much. This is 47.25, I believe, right? Pi. This is the total surface area. Now we have to find the radius of this cone. So there's a reason why they give you similar cone, so we have to use the knowledge of similarity. So pretty easy. We have to first compare the areas. So let's call this the cone of A and this one cone of B. Why not? So as you can see, A, B. The ratio for the area, as we can see here, A was given to you by 84 pi. And B was given to you by 47.25. Let's try to simplify this. So this is pi here, sorry. So we have to cancel pi out first. And let's find the simplest ratio. 47.5 divided by 84. That will give you 25. 47.25 divided by 84. That will give you, this will be 9 and this will be 16. This is the ratio for the area. Now we have to recall that the unit for area is equal to centimeters square. Now what is the unit for radius? It will be centimeters. Now how do you convert this to centimeters? We have to apply square root on both sides. That will be 16 and 9. That should be 4 to the value of 3. Okay, so we have to use ratio to find the value of the radius. So now we know for the corner of A, the radius is 6. We know that 4 represents the value of 6. What is the value of 3 represent? So 3 will be 6 divided by 4 times 3. That should be 18. So let's simplify. That should be 3 here, 2 here. That should be 9 over 2, and that will be 4.5 for the value of the radius. You can write this to 3s if you want to, and that should be your answer for part C of the question. Question number 9. Now let's move on to question number 10. Okay, so here we have a circle. A, B, C are points on the circumference of a circle, center O. Okay, now we have OBD is a straight line. Okay, good to know. And the angle ABD is equal to 130. So because OBD is a straight line, we can conclude that the angle here will be what? It will be 180 minus 130. That should be 50, right? Now because OB and OA are radius of the circle, we understand this have to be also 50. Now because AOB is a triangle, this will be the remaining angle, which is 180 minus 50 minus 50. That should be 80 as your value for this angle. That's something we can derive as of right now. Now let's see what is the question. So we have to find the angle ACB. ACB. This angle here, pretty easy. So here this angle will have to be the value of 40. So step by step again. So first step, as you can see, we found the angle ABO was 50, because we know OBD is a straight line, and we did 180 minus 130. Number 2, we conclude that the angle BAO is also 50, because we know the triangle OAB is isosceles. That's the reasoning behind, because radius are equal. You can write that as well. Now number 3, obviously we conclude the angle AOB have to be 80, because it is the third angle of a triangle. Number 4, we conclude the angle ACB have to be 40, because we have to know this theorem, which says that the angle at center is twice the angle at the circumference. So these are the points you may mention for your 4 marks. That will be your question part A. Now let's move on to question part B. So for this question, I did see many comments that you guys got 47.1% for your answer. So let's find out. I don't know if that is correct or not, but let's see if you guys were wrong or okay. If you guys think I did this wrong, let me know in the comments as well. But let's do this step by step. Okay, so here we have P and Q are points on the circumference of a different circle. So basically it's a new circle here. We have the point P and Q. Okay, now with center O obviously right here. Now we can see this is the radius. This is also the radius. This will have to be 8 as well. Okay, that's the first thing we can see. Now PR and QR, they are tangents to the circle. So which means if my tangent is drawn by my radius, this have to be 90 and this have to be 90. Okay, so that's pretty obvious till now. Now we have the angle POQ is 130 and the side or the radius OP is 8. Okay, good. Part 1, we have to find the length of PR. So how would you find the length of PR? Now I believe in the year of, I think 2018 for paper 2 or 2019 we had a similar paper or question, I think the one way we can do this is we can obviously break this down into two pieces. So this will be, you can draw a line here. Now we have to realize that obviously this triangle on top is the same thing as the bottom, so this and this, they are equal. That's the first thing we have to realize, because this is the same, this is the same, but also because we have a point here, which is a tangent, this is also tangent to this, also will have to be the same. So these two shapes are the same, they are congruent. Now to find the length of PR, we can just look at the triangle on the top. So let's do that. On the top we have this, we have this. This will be 90 right here. This is 8. Now because this is the angle in between, has to be the same, this will be half and half. So 130 divided by 2, that should be 65. I guess till now there should be no problem, we can agree on that, right? Now how would you find the length of PR? Obviously you can use SOHCAHTOA because it is a right angle triangle. So let's use SOHCAHTOA. This is the A side, that will be A and A. And this is the opposite side, that will be O and O. So we have to use 10. So 10 of 65 has to be the opposite side, which is PR, divided by A side will be 8. So PR has to be 8 times 10 of 65. That will be the value of 17.156. Obviously you will write to 3SF, that should be 17.2 centimeters. That will be part 1 of the answer. So let's write this down, 17.116 or 17.16 on both sides. Now part 3, we have to calculate the percentage of the quad, just the quad, OPRQ that is shaded. So just the quad, okay? So the quad OPRQ is what? It is this OPRQ. Now we know the quad is made up of what? So first thing, let's see. How would you find this percentage? That is shaded, so you will take the region that is shaded divided by the area of the quad, which is OPRQ times 100 for the percentage. That's in briefly how you would find the answer for this question. So we have to find these values and then we can find the answer. So let's see what's the first thing we can find. Let's try to find this one first. How would you find the area of the quad OPRQ? Now by observation you can see OPRQ is made up of two congruent triangles. They're the same thing and they are both right angle triangles. So how do you find the area of a right angle triangle? You use your formula that you know, which is half times base times height. So this is equal to 17.16. So half times base is 8 and times height is 17.16. So let's see what do we get. Half times 8 times 17.16. That will be 68.64. Now again, this is the area for one of the triangle. So we have to multiply by 2 to find the area of the whole quad. 68.64 times 2, that will give me 137.28. That will be my area of the quad. Now, how would you find the area that is shaded? So we have to observe what is possible here. So let's see. So we will have to find the, so to find this region, for example, let's first find this one first. How would you find this? So we will take the whole thing, the triangle, and minus the area of the sector, right? Let's call this number 3. So we can get this one only. So the area of the triangle we know already, it is equal to this. So what is the area of the sector? So sector is this shape right here with radius 8. And the angle here has been found to be 65 degrees. So let's do this. So the formula here, it is what? It is the angle 65 degrees over the value of 360 times pi r square. Pi is pi, r square is 8 square. So 65 divided by 360 times pi r square is 64. That should be 36.30. Okay, so this will be the area of the sector that we do not want, right? Because we only care about the shaded area. So what will be this area then? So we know the whole area here is 68.64. So 68.64 is the whole thing. And we do not want the sector that will be 36.30. 68.64 minus 36.30, that should give you 32.34. Now obviously this is one piece, we also need this one. This is the same as this one, so obviously we have to multiply by 2 for the shaded region. That will be what? Answer times 2, that will be 64.68. So that will be the value on top. So let's find the percentage now. So let's replace in our calculator. So 64.68 divided by 137.28 times 100, and that will give you 41.7. So you guys were right, this is 41.7% for the value of the percentage that is shaded. That is question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 11. So a bag contains 12 balls. There are X black balls in the bag and the other ones are white. So pretty simple. First thing we can do is we can break this down. So here we know we have X black balls, which means we will have remaining 12 minus X white balls. So that's what we have to know for this question. Now 2 balls are taken at random from the bags without replacement. That's very important in this question. Part A, we have to complete the tree diagram. So let's find this. So black, black, so we have to take white here. So it will be 12 minus X over the value of 11, obviously, because we take one already, which is the black one. And for this one, if you take a white one, the black one will not change, it will be X, but we will have to be 11 for the one that we have taken, which is the white. And here for the white will have to be minus 1, so that will be 11 minus X over the value of 11. So that will be part A of the question, 2 marks, easy marks. Now for part B, we have to find an expression for the chance of taking 1 ball of each color. So have to be of different colors. If you take 2 balls, the first one can be black, and it will have to be white because we need different color, or it can be white and black. So black and white. So black will be, so here we have to use this obviously to solve this question. Black is X over 12 multiplied by white. It is 12 minus X over 11. Now O is plus, white is 12 minus X over 12, and black is X over 11. Now as you can see, these two are exactly the same. We can just do 2 times the whole thing. X times 12 minus the value of X over, that should be 12, so that will be 12 times 11, 132. That should be simplified to what? 132 divided by 2, that should be 66. So here we will have 12x minus x squared over 66. So this will be the fraction, single fraction in terms of x for that value right here. That will be part B of the question. Now let's move on to part C of the question. So the chance that both balls are black is given to you by this. Okay, so how can we find both balls are black? Look at your tree diagram. So black and black will be this times this. So let's write this down. You will have x over 12 times the value of x minus 1 over 11. That will give you x squared minus x over 132. That should be 14 over 33. Now let's divide by 3 here. What do we have? 133. So 132 divided by 33, that should be 4. That should be 1. Then we can just cross multiply, send this over here. You will have x squared minus x. That will be 14 times 4, that should be 56. Send this over here, you will have x squared minus x minus 5, 6 have to be 0. So now we have to solve a quadratic equation. So that will be x squared. So we have two brackets, x times x, and here we have 8 times 7. That should be minus 8 plus 1. So x will have to be 8 and x will have to be minus 7. Obviously we'll take this one because x is the number of black balls, cannot be negative. So x will have to be 8, and we have to solve it to find the number of black balls, which is x, so which is 8 as your answer for 4 marks. Pretty easy. 4 marks will be for question number 11. Now let's move on to question number 12. So A is a point this and B is the point this. Find the value of AB. Pretty easy. That will be OB minus OA. That will be 3 minus 5 minus OA, which is 2, 3. That should give you 1 minus 8. That is only for 2 marks. Now for part 2, we have BC equal to this. Find the value of C. So pretty easy. BC is defined by OC minus OB. Should give you minus 4, 3. So which means OC would have to be minus 4, 3, 3. Send this over here, become plus OB. OB is given to you by the point 3 minus 5. That should be minus 1, and that should be minus 2. So these are the coordinates of your point C. Minus 1, minus 2. Now for part 3, we have the value here. The magnitude of AD is given to you by this, and the point is this. So the point A is given to you by 2, 3. We have to use that information to find the possible values of n. So one by one, how would you find this one? So that will be square root. First thing first will be x, 2, this. So 2 minus minus 3 will be 5 square plus 3 minus n square. That should give you root of 74 according to the question. Now these two will obviously cancel out. So you will have 25 plus 3 minus n square has to be 74. Send this over here, you will have 3 minus n square have to be what? 74 minus 25, that should be 49. So obviously you can see that should give you the value of plus minus root of 49, and that should give you plus minus the value of 7. Now solve this, you will have what? The value of so this is the same thing as if I were to write, for example, this is also equal to n minus 3 will also give you the same value. I hope that makes sense, because here we have plus and minus. If you flip this over, it will be the same thing. So n will be 3 plus minus 7. That should be n could be 3 plus 7 is 10, and 3 minus 7 could be minus 4. So I hope you understand this. So 3 minus n, it is plus minus 7. But it's the same thing if I say n minus 3 could be plus minus 7. It's the same thing. Now we send this over here, become 3 plus minus 7. So that will be 3 plus 7 is 10. 3 minus 7 will be minus 4. So two possible values for n will be these two. So now let's move on to the last question. So part B, I think many of you guys get this question right, but let's see what do we have here. So O cube RP is this shape, as you can see. So which means this also will have to be in the same direction and same value, which is Q. So PR will be Q, and QR will also have to be the same here, which is P. Now let's move on. OP in this, okay, K is the midpoint of OQ. So if it is the midpoint, it means that OQ in this direction have to be half Q. Okay, now L is a point right here, and then we know KL is given by this. So K going to L is given to you by this value. Now by using all these things that we know, we have to find the ratio of PL and LR. So I think it will take some time to kind of observe what can we use. We have to find the value of PL and LR. So we have to use this one. It is given to you, right? So how would you usually find KL? Let's observe. From K you move to L, you will have to have K move to O, and then O you have to move to P, and finally P moving to L. Here we want to find PL, so we have to make this become subject of formula. So, but first let's replace those values. KL is given to you by P minus 1 over 10 Q, is equal to KO. KO is, because OK is in this direction, KO will be in the opposite direction, so you have to be minus Q. OP is P, and here we have PL. Okay, so let's simplify. Obviously this and this will cancel out. So PL will have to be the value of minus 10, 1 over 10 Q, plus the value of half Q. So PL will have to be what? So minus 1 over 10 plus half, that will give you 2 over 5 Q. So by observation, because the whole thing here is 1Q, so PL is 2 over 5Q, which means this one right here, LR, will have to be the remaining, which is 3 over 5Q. So we know the values now. We can just replace in the ratio to find this ratio to find the values that we need to show. So PL is 2 over 5Q, LR is 3 over 5Q. So these two will cancel out, and these two will cancel out. Ratio is 2 to 3 for your answer. Okay, so this is the last question of this paper, and I hope that was helpful for you guys. And my opinion about this paper is that it is actually pretty easy. So the threshold will be, I think, will be pretty high. So I hope you guys have done well in both papers. Now, yeah, feel free to comment below if you guys have any other questions or want to share how you guys did in the exam as well. Feel free to comment. Now, with that being said, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.